There's a particular conversation a lot of us have learned to see coming. You're talking to someone, a colleague, someone at dinner, a person you just met, and it comes out, the way it eventually does, that you're into classical music, properly into it. And here it comes. Oh, nice! What's your favorite song? Or who's your favorite composer? Now, you have an answer, or you have the answer you give, which isn't quite the real one, but it'll do. And normally that's where it ends. They nod, you nod, the conversation moves on, everyone's fine. But every so often, they're actually curious. They want to hear it. They want to taste. And the moment they say it, you can see the whole thing unfold in front of you, the ankle twist to full body crumple in slow motion. So you stall, you say, oh, it's hard to pick, and try to change the subject. Buy yourself a little time, not because you don't have something, but because you know exactly how it's going to go. And sometimes they let it drop, but sometimes they don't. They press with kindness, and you run out of detours. Cornered. So you wearily pull out the phone, you tap and scroll for the thing, and press play. And then it happens exactly the way you knew it would. I want to talk about that, the thing you knew that was going to happen. So the music's playing, and you're not really listening to it. You're listening to them listen to it. You're watching their face for something. Except there's nothing. And here's the strange part. What I find genuinely odd, even after all these years, in that moment, you stop hearing it properly too. Because suddenly you're hearing it through them. You've borrowed their ears, the ears it's doing nothing for, and through those ears, the piece sounds lame, overlong, a bit much. The thing that an hour ago could stop your breath now sounds, even to you, a little silly, a little embarrassing. Like you walked into your own home and saw it as a stranger would and noticed for the first time that it's kind of a mess. It's not just that they can't hear what you hear, you'd expect that. It's that for a few seconds, they take your own hearing away from you. Their indifference is contagious. Time slows down. 15 seconds feels like an hour. So before your brain melts down, you smash pause and say something like, I know it's not everyone's thing. The conversation moves on, they drift away, and you try to forget everything that just happened, except you can't. So you do what I think a lot of us quietly do. As soon as you decently can, you go back and listen to that piece again, alone. No one watching your face, no one watching you watch their face, just you and the piece the way it's supposed to be. And there it is again, like one of those little Japanese paper pellets dropped in water, formless 1 second, then suddenly unfurling into full color and life exactly as before. You rinse the whole encounter off and the piece returns to its old spot in the pantheon of your favorite songs. It's a slightly ridiculous little ritual, but every one of us has some version of it. And I think it's worth asking why we need it at all. Years ago, deep in, and I mean deep in a particular phase, a close friend of mine cornered me with the big version of the question. Not favorite. What's the greatest song? He said in all of classical music. I squirmed, hedged, and then, against my own better judgment, I blurted out my truth at the time. The St. Matthew Passion, Bach. 2.5 hours of sacred grief, 2 choirs, 2 orchestras, one of the summits of Western art. He wanted to hear it, obviously. So, dying inside a little, I queued up the opening chorus, the vast swelling lament, weight of the whole world coming down, and waited for it to do to him what it does to me. About 15 seconds in, he grinned and said, "This is a real toe tapper, Carden." And here's the thing, he wasn't wrong, not really. Put yourself in his seat. Almost everywhere else in his life, music is something that runs underneath. The car, the train, the store, the gym, the thing you talk over. It asks nothing. That's the point. And there I was, having handed him something that asks for the opposite. No words to hold on to, no beat to nod to, music that has long arcs under even longer arcs. The kind of attention it needs is the kind almost nothing in modern life ever asks of us anymore. And remember, I didn't even want to play it for him. He had to drag it out of me. And that's the part I've never quite known how to explain to people. Most of us aren't evangelists. If anything, we're the opposite. keeping quiet, changing the subject, because we've learned the surest way to protect this music is to keep it to ourselves. And the cruel little twist is that it's almost never the indifferent ones who corner us. It's the kind ones, the open-hearted people who just met their first real-life classical fanatic, and genuinely, adorably, they want in. They do everything right, and still, it goes the way it always goes, not because they failed, not because we did, but because what this music asks for can't be conjured on the spot, no matter how much goodwill is in the room. So why does it work alone when it fails in company? For years I thought of that as the sad part. The music's too good for the room and I'm stuck loving it by myself. But I've come to think I had it backwards. This isn't music that was built to be handed around. It opens up for one person at a time. It needs you undistracted, unguarded, unwatched. It needs you to stop performing your own reaction and actually have it. And you can't do that with someone studying your face, waiting for you to love it with them. The very thing that makes the encounter fail in company is the thing that makes it piercing in private. So yes, it's solitary. Often it's just you and the music and no one else in the room. Even at live concerts, classical music lovers enjoy the experience alone. We're alone together. I'll give you a high point. Not a concert, not some perfect shared evening with a fellow traveler. Summer of 1999, I was on a work trip. The airport Hertz picked clean except for one car, a bright yellow Mustang convertible. The agent knew I'd hit the jackpot. Northern California, the end of the century. I spent an entire Sunday cruising through Shasta-Trinity with the top down, blasting Beethoven 6, 7, and 8, the ecstatic ones, at a volume that was, frankly, unwise. Just me in God's country, completely and gloriously unbothered by whether a single human being approved. Me, music, nobody watching, which it turns out is the only condition under which I've ever really let it all the way in. And Mr. Toe Tapper guy, still a close friend, still a jerk. I've never played him anything since. Thanks for watching, and subscribe, damn it. See you next time.